Pilipinas, usalangbay ang radyo. DZRH Nationwide at Radyo Natin Network ng Manila Broadcasting Company. Sa Pilipinas, iisa lang ang radyo.
Manila Broadcasting Company.
Dibisyon ng Biliran Alternative Learning System kasama ang buong kagawaran ng edukasyon at kaagapay ang pamahalaan ng probinsya ng Biliran ay buong pusong inihahandog ang programang pangradyo na pinamagatang Als Radyo Eskwela. Ito ay inyong mapapakinggan tuwing Lunes at Biyernes sa ganap na alas 11 hanggang alas 11:30 ng umaga dito lamang sa 103.9 Radyo Natin FM. Walang makahahadlang, walang maiiwan sa Alternative Learning System. Tiyak na may pag-asa, sama-samang lilipad para maabot ang pangarap sa hamong kinakaharap. Patuloy na aangat, edukasyon para sa lahat. Sulong edukalidad. Ito ang DepEd Als Radyo Eskwela ng Dibisyon ng Biliran.
Good morning to our beloved Alternative Learning System learners. This is your school on air, Als Radyo Eskwela at 103.9 Radyo Natin FM Nabal, Biliran. Every Monday and Friday of the week at exactly 11 to 11:30 in the morning. Today, we are glad to take you on another flight fully loaded with learnings and fresh insights. This is Teacher Ronald of Als Kabukgayan District 1, your teacher for today. And I will be accompanied by one of my co-implementers here in Division A, Biliran, none other than Teacher Dayan from Kawayan District 2. My morning greetings to you, Ma'am. Looking great today.
Thank you very much, Sir Ronald. And of course, my morning greetings to everyone who are listening to us today, especially to our beloved ALS learners and implementers of Biliran Division. It's such an overwhelming feeling being part of this new episode of imparting learnings and fresh insights through Radio Eskwela. I would like to encourage everyone to participate the session by listening attentively, following us at our live stream at Facebook page at 103.9 Radyo Natin Naval, Biliran.
Before we start our session, we want to make sure that wherever you are, you feel comfortable and very much ready for another adventure. Therefore, you better be full. Jumpstart your day with a good breakfast so that you can withstand the rest of the day. So, fasten your seatbelt, turn on your thinking caps, brace yourselves, and we're good to go.
Now, get ready your pen, notebook, and MyDev Life Skills on Leadership and Teamwork module.
Okay, for today's trip, we are off to define and demonstrate the different leadership styles. Let me say that again. Today, we are about to define and demonstrate the different leadership styles.
Before we go further, let me share with you a famous quotation that we all know. A good leader is a good follower. So, what is the connection of it for today's lesson? Let's find out.
Leadership is the power or ability to lead other people. But not all leaders have the same leadership style. A different style of leadership may be needed depending on the situation.
Just like the scenario that we are going to share with you to our segment, Tanong Ko, Sagot Mo. First of all, in order for you to win a 50 pesos load coming from our generous sponsor today, Sir Jerry Paghid, District Supervisor of Kawayan District 1. All you have to do is to listen the scenario and answer the question that being asked. Are you ready? Please listen attentively for you to answer the question correctly.
One day, Lisa passed the A&T test and decided to enroll in senior high school. So, she asked for permission to her father, but her father insisted that she enroll in TISDA and she would follow his decision because he is the head of the family. After a long discussion, Lisa had no other choice but to enroll on TISDA because it is what had been decided by her father.
Let me repeat the situation. One day, Lisa passed the A&D test and decided to enroll in senior high school. So, she asked for permission to her father. But her father insisted that she enroll on TESDA and she should follow his decision because he is the head of the family. After a long discussion, Lisa had no other choice but to enroll on TESDA because it is what have been decided by her father.
Based on a given scenario, what can you say on the leadership style of Lisa's father? Yes, for some, it is indeed heartbreaking. But if you were Lisa's father, would you do the same? Why? Kindly text your answer to this number, 0998-216-6976, so that we will know your thoughts on this matter. Again, kindly text your answers on 0998-2166-976.
Again, what can you say on the leadership style of Lisa's father? And if you were Lisa's father, would you do the same? Why? Text your answer to this number, 0998-216-6976.
Going back to the given scenario, what do you think is the leadership style used by Lisa's father? Do you have an idea on different leadership styles? If you have, very good. But if you do not have any idea, do not worry, because now we will define the different leadership styles.
As a leader, it is important to understand the different styles of leading. The style you choose will depend on the context in which you are working, who you are working with, and what their needs and expectations are. Whether or not you have a deadline, the task at hand, or etc. Today, we are going to focus on the four of the most typical leadership styles, namely the authoritarian leadership, the persuading leadership, the consulting leadership, and the joining leadership.
Now let us discuss each one of them, starting with the very known leadership style, the authoritarian leadership.
In the authoritarian leadership, the leader identifies a problem, considers alternative solutions, chooses one of them, and then tells followers what they are to do. He may or may not consider what the group will think or feel about the decision, but they clearly do not participate in the decision making and relies primarily on his own judgment.
Again, an authoritarian leader do not consider what the group will think or feel about the decision and relies primarily on his own judgment. Example of this is the situation given earlier. Lisa's father is an authoritarian leader because he did not listen to what Lisa would love to do and insisted only on what he thinks Lisa should do. Do you understand? Very good.
Now, let us move on to the next leadership style. We have the persuading leadership. The leader in the persuading leadership is like the authoritarian leader. He makes the decisions without consulting the group. But instead of simply announcing the decision, he attempts to persuade the group members to accept the decision. He describes how the decision fits everyone's interests.
Again, the leader in the persuading leadership is like the authoritarian leader. He makes the decision without consulting the group. But instead of simply announcing the decision, he attempts to persuade the group members to accept the decision and describes how the decision fits everyone's interest. So, what is an example of this? Let us hear this situation.
One day, the barangay officials had their monthly session. And on the meeting, the barangay treasurer reported that they still have 35,000 pesos remaining budget for infrastructure. The punong barangay suggested that they use it in beautifying the barangay hall. He then tried to explain why it should be done and slowly convinced the other barangay officials. So, in the end, the punong barangay suggestion became the body's decision.
Let me repeat the situation. One day, the barangay officials had their monthly session. And on the meeting, the barangay treasurer reported that they still have 35,000 pesos remaining budget for infrastructure. The punong barangay suggested that they use in it beautifying the barangay hall. He then tried to explain why it should be done and slowly convinced the other barangay officials. So, in the end, the punong barangay suggestions become the body's decision.
As you can see in the given scenario, the punong barangay persuaded the other barangay officials to agree to his decision. So, that is an example of persuading leadership. Do you get it? Okay, let's move to the next leadership style.
Now, we have the consulting leadership. Here in the consulting leadership, the leader gives the group a chance to influence the one's decision for the beginning and to present the problem and relevant background information. Then, ask the members for their ideas on how to solve the problem. He may offer a possible solution for the group members' reactions, then select the solution the members regard as most promising.
Again, the leader in the consulting leadership gives the group a chance to influence the decision from the beginning. He may offer a possible solution for the group members' reaction, then selects the solution the members regard as most promising.
So, let us have another situation to understand more what is consulting leadership. Here it is. The PTA officers of Tanawan Elementary School held an emergency meeting because their office was damaged by the Typhoon Ulysses. On the meeting, the president of the association let the group members suggest ways on how to solve their problem. Then after that, they agreed on the most efficient and realistic solution.
Again, the PTA officers of Tanawan Elementary School held an emergency meeting because their office was damaged by Typhoon Ulysses. On the meeting, the president of the association let the group members suggest ways on how to solve their problem. Then after that, they agreed on the most efficient and realistic solution.
What do you observe in the situation presented? Yes, the president asked for suggestions from the members and let them be part of the decision making. By that, the president became a consulting leader. Do you understand? Very good.
Now, let us proceed to the last leadership style, which is the joining leadership. In the joining leadership, the leader participates in the discussion as just another member, agreeing in advance to carry out whatever decision the group makes. He also encourages group decisions, allows for individual recognition, and tends to guide, not rule.
Once more, the leader in the joining leadership participates the discussion as just another member, agreeing in advance to carry out whatever decision the group makes. He also encourages group decisions, allow for individual recognition, and tends to guide, not rule. Let us hear an example of adjoining leadership.
The members and the head pastor of the church conducted a meeting whether or not they will continue their outreach program, considering the protocols implemented by the government due to the underlying health crisis, making it clear that he will agree to whatever the group decides, as long as it is for the common good and follows the protocol. The head pastor hears out the stand and motions of the members. Then together, they decided on the matter.
Again, the members and the head pastor of the church conducted a meeting whether or they will continue their outreach program considering the protocols implemented by the government due to the underlying health crisis, making it clear that he will agree to whatever the group decides, as long as it is for the common good for follows the protocol. The head pastor hears out the stand and motions for the members. Then, together, they decided on the matter.
What do you observe in the situation presented? Very good. The head pastor served as a joining leader because he guided only the members in the making the decision and did not rule on them. Do you get it? Great!
So, that is my dear Als learners. We're done with our short trip and I hope you have learned the 4 of the most typical leadership styles, namely the authoritarian leadership, the persuading leadership, the consulting leadership, and the joining leadership.
At this point of time, let's try to apply what you have learned from our discussion today. Listen to the situation carefully, then identify what's the most appropriate leadership style you are going to use if you are the leader. After that, justify your answer. Again, you have to identify what's the most appropriate leadership style you are going to use if you are the leader. Then, justify your answer. Do you understand? Okay, here's our situation.
Your family owned 3 hectares of land, and the whole clans valued the land so much that they didn't want to sell it to anyone. But one day, a group of businessmen went to your house saying that they are interested in buying the land. They are offering you a lot of money. If you are the head of the family, how are you going to convince your whole clan to sell the land?
Again, your family owned 3 hectares of land, and the whole clan values the land so much that they don't want to sell it to anyone. But one day, a group of businessmen went to your house saying that they are interested in buying the land. They are offering you a lot of money. If you are the head of the family, how are you going to convince your whole clan to sell the land?
You may write your answers on the short bond paper and wait for your Als implementer to collect it on the following day before the checking and feedbacking of your output.
And for your final activity for today, provide a situation that you observe in your family or community that shows one of the leadership style presented earlier. Then, explain what you would do if you are the leader or the head of the family.
Again, for your final activity, provide a situation that you observed in your family, community that shows one of the leadership style presented earlier. Then, explain what you do if you were the leader, head of the family.
And for this activity, You may also write your answers on a short bond paper and wait for your implementers to collect your work. Do you understand? Very good.
I believe you learned a lot today. And now, just to make sure we are on the same page, let us do a recap of our 4 most typical leadership style. What are those? Can you still remember?
Yes, we have discussed the authoritarian leadership, persuading leadership, the consulting leadership, and the joining leadership as the 4 most typical leadership style. And for further understanding on the difference of the presented leadership styles, you can refer to your BIDEV Life Skills module on the leadership and teamwork. Now, are we good with that?
All right. Before we end our session today, let us read first the responses of our listeners from the questions presented earlier about what can you say on the leadership style of Lisa's father. If you were Lisa's father, would you do the same? According to Mercedita Casancio Abnabal Biliran, her answer is, if I were Lisa's father, I will not force my child if she don't want to follow my footsteps. But I should rather support what she wants to be in the future. Congratulations, Mercedita Casancio Abnabal Biliran. Since you are actively participated and you are the first who sent response, answer to our question during our segment, Tanong Ko, Sagot Mo, you will receive 50 pesos load coming from Sir Jiri Paghead, District Supervisor of Kawayan, District 1. Thank you so much, dear sponsor, for being generous. God bless you and your family.
That's all for today. I hope you've learned a lot from us. And before we bid goodbye, please always tune in to our educational morning radio show, Als Radyo Eskwela, every Monday and Friday of the week at 11 to 11:30 in the morning. Only here at 103.9 Radyo Natin FM, Davao Biliran. Once again, this is Teacher Dayan from Kawayan District 2, which leaves you a message that despite this pandemic, let's all stay positive and make sure that the fun and learning must continue.
And this is Teacher Ronald from Kabukgayan, District 1 saying, God bless and keep safe everyone.
Dibisyon ng Biliran Alternative Learning System kasama ang buong kagawaran ng edukasyon at kaagapay ang pamahalaan ng probinsya.